lovely Iridium. We're back for All Killer, No Filler, Total Frustration. And if you watched the live stream last night, you know I've got a new name for you guys, or anyone who appears on the channel. So, well, I sort of suggested a few things and someone said, this is good. So the Iridiots are back. Do you like that? The Iridiots?
Iridiots.
I think I like the Irreplaceables better. But...
yeah, well, I don't know. I do like the Irreplaceables actually, but I had trouble saying it last night because I had a beer before the show, so I don't want to get in
quite a few syllables. Iridium, yes. Irreplaceables. Yeah, it doesn't really pull off the tongue, I guess.
The Irreplaceables. I like it. I like it.
Iridiots.
Yes, the Iridiots. Yeah, let's take the piss out of ourselves. Why not? I'm one of them Iridiots. So, okay, so All Killer No Filler. We're up to starting to get up to. I don't know. You guys found it. You like a lot of the music coming out of here. I found this quite easy to tell you the truth. There was quite a bit still. So yeah, it's all right for me still. Maybe a couple of more years I might struggle a little bit, but there was a lot of decent releases for me. Not so many honourable mentions. You know, them a few years ago, there was like I had a list like that of honourables. They're going down. They're going down quite a bit. But still, a great year and lots of different music. Obviously, we're reaching that that strange time. But 1992. So if anyone doesn't know the rules, because I have to explain them every time, because I'm an idiot. So we can't repeat an album. Obviously, all the albums have to be out in 1992. That's the year we're focusing on today. We can't repeat, like have two songs off of each album. It has to be one, and the track listing has to match the track listing of the original album. We're still on 12 tracks, and we have spoken about upping it. Jan wanted to up it to like 17 tracks about a year ago, and I don't know. I think I'm going to struggle. I might look at doing more in a couple of years. I don't know. I might look at doing less
or less.
Yes,
yeah, might be less in the next few years.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's not easy for me to get more than 12. But that's where we're at. We're at 12, and because it's a 1992 and that's an even number, Jam goes first today.
I do. Cool.
Wow.
Right.
I know, mate. I tell you what, I surprise myself sometimes. I really do.
You are really getting better, Lee. 1,500 subscribers, and look at you. You're just like a professional now. One of these days, you're going to go first, and let's see how it goes.
Anyway, so 92. Going to be an interesting one, this, I think. It's going to be a really interesting one. Obviously, we go from track 1 to track 12. Go around the houses. Jam's going to be first with his track 1 of 1992. Go for it, mate.
Yeah. It's, for me, a really good year. Honourable mentions. I've got a massive long list here, so I'll try and keep it short, but there was a lot of good albums there. But I'm going to start with one of my favourite bands, and slight controversy on the track listing, so it might not match what people think, but this is the Wild Hearts' first EP. Mondo Akimbo A Go-Go. It was reissued later on CD with a different track listing. So, but I'm going with what's on my vinyl, which is nothing ever changes but the shoes. Track 1. Sorry, voice has gone after last night. I think I mentioned last night. I hope it's a fact that I think Wild Hearts supported Bruce Dickinson at the Astoria when I saw him, and this is where I got to see him for the first time. And what an amazing band! Never heard anybody who sounded like that. I think Bam from Dogs to More was still playing on drums in those days, because I don't think he actually recorded the album, but he was the original drummer. And the Wild Hearts are just such a brilliant band. Ginger Wild Heart's one of the best songwriters in this country and so underrated. If he was doing pop music, if he was an Ed Sheeran, he'd be a billionaire, because his songwriting's so good. Wild Hearts, absolutely brilliant live. One of my favourite bands. Nothing ever changes but the shoes. Is the first song I ever heard, and still absolutely brilliant. And they do sometimes play it out these days. Exactly. so much different music they play.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me name that tune. The Wild Hearts.
Yeah, that's the one.
I know Dom's a big fan of the Wild Hearts as well. What a great band.
Yeah, I love them as well. It was really hard being a Wild Hearts fan in the States at the time, because they never toured there, and most of the records didn't even get released. So I was paying ridiculous import prices for anything. But agreed, Ginger is just he's one of those crazy talents where they get a little crazy sometimes, but the volume and quality of the work is just ridiculous, just fantastic. So yeah, you'll definitely be seeing a lot of Wild Hearts in the next few years for me.
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent.
Apart from Endless Nameless, which might not get on that.
Yes. No.
Nice one. What you got then, mate? Dom?
Okay, I've got a British band as well.
Oh, cool.
I've got Thunder from Laughing on Judgment Day. This is Does It Feel Like Love? What a opener. Woo! I was really surprised when I was doing some research that this wasn't a single. I just assumed this was just a barnstormer, but move a little to the left, move a little to the right. You know, such a great singer. The band was just firing all cylinders at this point. They've never really dipped in quality, but this is still kind of a young, hungry band, and you can tell. Just terrific, and a great album. Laughing on Judgment Day is terrific. I think I might even like it more than Backstreet Symphony, which is saying a lot.
Ooh,
but
that's a big statement.
I guess so, but
a bit long, isn't it? They really fucking packed this album out like as a lot.
It's about 16 songs or something, isn't it?
Ridiculous.
Quite a lot.
Yeah, a lot of songs, but all quality though. This is the thing, when you do a long album, that's the thing. It's not usually full up with good songs, is it? It's usually a few that you could chop off, but it's hard to chop some songs off of that one, I would say. Yeah.
So there you go, Thunder.
Cool. Not Thunder.
And I saw them at Download. Probably mentioned it before. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and they were fantastic. And the singer,
I saw them.
Just excellent.
I finally got to see them because, again, another British band that never came to the States. So I finally got to see them, I don't know, about 10 years ago at the O2. They supported Mott the Hoople, which is another band I never thought in a million years I'd ever see. So that was a really exciting night. And that was great.
Well, they always do a Christmas show.
Sorry, mate. Go on.
Sorry, go on.
Saying they got a great sense of humour as well live.
Oh, yeah.
The singer was cracking me up, and the people I was with have never heard the band before, and they loved them straight away because they got that instant, you know, that catchiness immediately.
Exactly.
As soon as you hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say they always do a Christmas show, which is definitely worth seeing if you can see. And they do a special set because it's Christmas and that. And I think they've got some hopefully planned for this year. So if you're going to go, I think they're playing. I would have gone, but I think they're playing Wolverhampton, which is a bit difficult to get to for me. But they usually play Birmingham. I think they're playing Wolverhampton, but definitely worth seeing.
Yeah.
Anybody out there?
Okay. Well, my first track, I thought one of you guys might have had it, or even both of you. It's probably a bit of an obvious one, not for me as such, because I don't know, I like their earlier material more, but this was a bit of a return to form, I suppose. It's Kiss, Unholy, the opening track. So obviously one of the heaviest tracks they've done. I think you guys might have had it on All Killer, on the Kiss one.
Possibly,
I'm not sure. But
we both had it as number one, yeah.
So that would probably be a good reason why you didn't have it on here, though. So yeah, I mean, a great track. I'm not usually I'm not usually a Gene Simmons fan of vocals, but I think he does an absolutely brilliant job on this. Really heavy for them. I don't think the whole album was as heavy as people make out. I think they hear Unholy and just think the whole thing is like that. It's not really, is it? I mean, there's that other single on the end that we've mentioned before. That's very much like their earlier non-makeup start period, you know. But a great track to start off. Kiss, Unholy, heavy as you can get with Kiss, really, isn't it? I suppose.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow, yeah, right up there with some of my favorite songs of all time. So I can't.
Yeah. So I didn't have it on All Killer, so I thought I'd whack it here. There you go, Unholy.
Love that.
All right, guys. All right, track 2.
Right. Yeah, my voice is gone. Right, I'm going to go with a band who probably got a little bit of a bad, I don't not say bad rap, but perhaps people didn't think what they were exactly, because the name of them, they sound like they should be sort of from the LA scene or some sort of hair metal band or glam metal band, and that's Saigon Kick. But they're actually really a lot heavier than you think, and certainly on their second album, The Lizard, great album cover. I like green anyway, but a great album cover, and the song "Hostile Youth." The riff is absolutely brilliant. I don't know if you know it, Lee, but think Skid Row, think Slave to the Grind riff. This is what this is like. And yeah, they're certainly all the name suggests otherwise. They're definitely a proper sort of rock and metal band. They're absolutely fantastic. The whole album of The Lizard is brilliant. It's got some really innovative and different music on it, and it's from I think it's their second album. The first album's really good as well, but this second album is just off the charts, and it's one of my favourite albums from the year. Peppermint Trot. I'm probably sorry, I shouldn't mention songs that might come up later, but yeah, Hostile Youth.
I think you're safe. I think you're safe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So brilliant though. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Hostile Youth.
Oh, man.
That's something a bit different as well for the times. I mean, bands had to be different in those days, and they certainly stood out.
I mean, I did hear of them. There's another band, like so many of you guys have been mentioning over the last few years. You know, loads of bands that, like I said, I must have gone in hiding or something, or just gone into that different style of music. Sadly, sorry, Dom. That's probably what happened. I got into this fresh music, you know, the grunge stuff, and
you drank the Kool-Aid, man. You drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, but like I said, when you look back, it just class stays, doesn't it? And then that's why I go back and don't go back to those bands that I liked in the 90s so much. I go back even further, and the stuff that comes out now is better for me. So stuff that you loved back then, you fell in love with, and you thought it's the best thing. In the end, it sort of wears off a little bit sometimes.
Oh, must mention the production as well. Really good on this album. It sounds really good and still stands up today. If you listen to it of a weekend or whatever, it still sounds really good, I think.
I had both of those records, both of those. I think Lizard, I think you're right. I think it probably was a bit stronger. Saw them a few times as well. I can see why you really like them, because I always thought of them as kind of a cross between metal, but he's got a real kind of Perry Farrell thing to his vocals. So they were kind of one of those that were bridging the gap between kind of alternative and straight up metal. But talented bunch of guys for sure. Yeah.
It's another one of them bands that come out at the wrong time. If they released The Lizard in 1988, not 89, they perhaps would have been a bit bigger, wouldn't they? But times were changing, as they say.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Good one, mate. What you got, Dom?
Okay, I've got another super obscure one for you guys. When I say obscure, these were all released on major labels, so it's not like they only had 5 copies or something. But it's just in this glut of bands, there's going to be obscure ones that didn't sell a lick. This is one of them. This band is called Slick Toxic, Canadian band. I happened to see their video on Headbangers Ball and just loved it. The song is called Hell of a Time, and the album is called Doing the Nasty. Of course it is.
I hope helliver is one word.
Hell of a time is one word.
Oh, fuck me, yeah, even better. I love it.
Yes. Nice. It's got a real monkey business flavor to it. Kind of got one of those relentless mid-paced, just a fucking cracker of a song. Normally, whenever I join like a new glam metal site on Facebook or something, this is usually the first one I post, so I can judge to see who knows this song. and
probably nobody.
And if they don't, then they should listen to it and go, wow, this is great. I got to go check them out. So, they're just a cracker of a song. The album's good, but this song it really could have been just one of those classic anthems of the day. But again, the year we're talking about, 92, it's probably one of those things again where they were signed and the record was recorded and everything was ready to go. So they just went ahead and released it, but didn't put any promotion behind it.
Difficult, man. Really difficult.
Yeah,
They're still bringing a lot of releases out, though, aren't they? A lot of new bands, like you said, but obviously we hadn't fully got into that period, I suppose, where the record companies realised it was completely shot completely.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, my track 2, I'm going for a really 80s sounding album. I've mentioned this band before. They are a Christian band, actually, called The Brave. And they got a new album coming out this Tuesday.
Wow.
So, tomorrow. Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds, they've only had, I think, 3 albums out until the album comes out tomorrow. So they had 2 80s albums, then one a few years ago, and they had a female vocalist actually. So I didn't listen to that one. No, I did listen to it. But I wasn't too keen. But the first 2 albums, especially this one, Battle Cries, is pure 80s sounding stuff, just so catchy, melodic, sort of AOR melodic rock stuff. More bordering on the melodic rock, I suppose, than AOR. It was just like it was straight out of 1985, 1986 sounding. Even the album cover, you've got to check that out. The song's called Waiting, by the way. I haven't even mentioned that. The track 2 is Waiting, and the whole album's just full up of really catchy stuff. And it just, they are Christian, so obviously the lyrics, veer towards that. But apart from that, the time is just literally, I can totally understand, and no one listened to this because it was just mid-80s stuff. Even the front cover, you've got to check out the front cover. They look like they're going to an aerobics class.
Is that a good or bad thing?
Bad. They got like the headbands on and
leg warmers.
Oh mate, it's just it's not good, but an absolutely amazing, catchy album. And I can't wait for the album tomorrow because they brought out a couple of singles that are really good. So it sounds like they're harking back, because this is the time to hark back, isn't it? People are listening to this sort of stuff again. So The Brave, Waiting is my track 2. There you go. Okay, track 3. What you got, guys?
Right, let's drag it into the 90s and probably headed towards the more modern metal, and let's go with some White Zombie. And obviously, long before Rob Zombie was a solo artist, White Zombie existed. This is, I think, that's his second album.
Dominic's favourite director as well.
Yeah, making that great remake of. I won't mention that. But I think it's the second album. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Le Sexorcisto, Devil Music Volume 1, and it's a Thunder Kiss 65. I mean, this is, I guess, where you started what you call groove metal. I think it's certainly less industrial than probably his solo stuff started. I mean, it's all quite similar, but I mean, what an absolute brilliant song this is. I mean, jumping up and down to the groove, fantastic. I was lucky enough to see White Zombie in their prime at Rock City at Nottingham, and this song, obviously, when they played this, was brilliant. This whole album is really, really good. I mean, it's I suppose industrial groove metal's perhaps not as in vogue as it was at the time, but it's certainly something a bit different. When you compare this to some of the stuff that people released in 1992, it just seemed so much newer and fresher and different, which is obviously what it was. But no, I really love the song, really love the album. I'm not a massive White Zombie fan. I think it's. Did they do another album after this? I think they might have done.
Astro Creep 2000.
That's of course it did. Yeah, of course it did. So yeah, I was never a massive fan, but I certainly did really get into this album. And I do like Rob Zombie. Actually, I do listen to a lot of his stuff now, and it was one of the best gigs I've ever seen. Was Rob Zombie headlining Download Second Stage. First time, because he hadn't been over for a long time. Must have been 2012, 13, 14, and
I was there.
Oh right, yeah, I was right up front.
I don't know if I was there at that one. Did he come again? Because I saw him a few years ago.
He's been twice. Yeah,
that's when I saw him. It was
the first time because he hadn't been over here for such a long time, and for some reason I ended up at the front, which is obviously I'm too old to go at the front these days, but I just seemed to end up there, and it was brilliant. So definitely a great show if you've never seen Rob Zombie, White Zombie. And brilliant song, Thunder Kiss 65.
But all them, I mean, I think some of, depending on who the band is, but the visuals that you get sometimes are really, really cool. And I didn't stand anywhere near the front because it was only a couple of years ago and I was old then. And I love the way he uses, and I know he's a filmmaker, but I love the way he uses all the old films and stuff going on in the background, and it was fucking brilliant to look at. And I don't actually know any of his music, but I think it just enhanced everything. The stage show enhanced the music as well. Wouldn't be something I'd normally listen to, but it was one of the most enjoyable performances I saw over that weekend for sure.
Exactly, it's brilliant. I think he even plays Thunder Kiss 65 now with his solo work. He still plays this song, I believe. I think he did. I'm sure he did, but I was cool.
1965. Yeah.
You obviously like the music more than the films. Is that what you're saying, Dom?
Exactly. Yeah. I was an early White Zombie fan. I saw them in some very small places. Even touched his head one time when they were doing a cover of God of Thunder.
Yeah,
and I went up and grabbed his head, and then my hand stunk of dreadlocks for like the rest of the night. It was just I would just walk up to him and go, "Smell my hand. I touched Rob Zombie's hair." But yeah. So when they got some success here, it was pretty cool. And again, this is one of those records that just went on and on and on. You know, I think it was a whole year of touring and one of those kind of late bloomers again. But yeah, I just don't like his films, but I still listen to him.
It's got a bit of bass like, can it?
Down. Yeah. That's the one.
Cool. Excellent, mate. Good one. Right. Definitely getting some different styles of music coming out. You can see already in 1992, can't you? So it's cool. What you got then, Dom?
Okay. What do I got? I don't even know. Let's see. Okay. So I guess we have a bit of a controversy here.
Oh,
I love it. I like
a bit of controversy.
Yeah.
Well, I have Wild Hearts, Nothing Never Changes But the Shoes.
Yeah.
And this is from Don't Be Happy, Just Worry EP. So there you go.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I don't think I fucked up. It's just,
Yeah.
I think it's on both EPs, isn't it?
Yeah. No, they released the vinyl that I've got, then they released it on CD, which I had as well. Then they released a second EP, and then they released it as one big sort of album, if you like, of both albums. But they changed the order of the songs, so both is correct. It's just I just went with the vinyl, that was all. But,
oh, well, I don't blame you. Yeah, I'm just going off of A, what was on my iTunes, and and B, what I found on the internet. But
it's a great song, and
so this is from a different EP that has a completely different cover from what you have. And as I said, it's called "Don't Be Happy, Just Worry." So, but yeah, just nothing ever changes. They are a one of a kind band. They've been described as if the Beach Boys met Metallica. And I think that's probably just as close of a statement as you can get, because they just have catchy as hell pop melodies, but behind just brutal riffs. And every track just has 4 or 5 riffs that any other band would kill to have just one of them to make a song around. Just fantastic and one of a kind. So there you go.
Cool.
Well, I'm surprised Lee's not a fan of the Wild Hearts. I really am. I thought he'd like them a lot. But
I don't know. They don't have this, I mean, he's got a very kind of basic voice and stuff.
Anyway, yeah, talk about.
No, he's not. He's not singing to the heavens or anything, and he's not.
What do you mean? I like grunge, so might get to that later. Anyway, so not singing to the heavens, but a bit of AOR for me next. Band that I probably mentioned before, that you keep getting mentioned to, I think, Jam, from Darren, FM.
Mm-hmm.
So the band FM, British band. At this stage in their career, this album itself, they was getting in more to the bluesy stuff, introducing more bluesy stuff. But this is pure AOR. This is a song called All or Nothing. It was from the Aphrodisiac album. Yes, like I said, catchy, pure AOR in the style of Foreigner, Journey, I suppose, that sort of stuff, but maybe a little bit heavier on the guitar than those bands. But I just love the band, but they're doing a lot of good music now, like they did way back when they first started. They had a bit of a big bluesy period in between, which I can, what I'm like with that stuff. It's just get on with the catchy stuff. Stop doing this bluesy, But Steve Overland, who's the singer, he's just an amazing. He's got such a rich, soulful voice, and this All or Nothing song, this actual song, because I only listened to the first 2 albums of FM, and then I didn't listen to them at all until I did the channel. And this song was suggested to me as a reaction. So I listened to this and fell in love with it. So there you go.
So is this their 3rd album then?
Yeah, this is the 3rd album. So you had Indiscreet, Tough It Out, then I just I don't know what happened to me. Like I said,
I don't know what happened to you either. It's like you were in like a coma for 10 years or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I met my ex-wife. That's what happened, and I think it just
Wah, wah, wah.
my life just ended anyway. So there you go.
Fair
FM
enough.
All or Nothing, a brilliant, really catchy tune, amazing song actually. But I mean, I know, especially Jam, he's not into the AOR type stuff, but you might actually enjoy this. You never know.
Yeah, certainly not. Well, yeah, I mean, as I said before, I mean, it might not be my sort of thing, but there's nothing guitar-based music can't beat it. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna slate it. It's just might not be my personal choice.
Exactly. Okay, that's our freeze done, guys. What we got for number 4?
Cool. 4. Well, we're staying with what was becoming more modern metal, and we're going with the awesome Vulgar Display of Power that probably changed the face of metal more than any other. Well, certainly extreme metal, heavier metal. Yeah, brilliant album. I mean, I know John picked some early Pantera, which I've never listened to, but I think with the 3 albums they did with sort of more of a hair metal type.
Yeah, more of a
And then obviously Cowboys from Hell come out, which with a bit of a different sound, very groove metal, heavy but not ripping. But this album is absolutely brutal. You know, it's certainly changed modern metal. And obviously, this song is fucking Hostile, which I wonder if will have any matches up here. But I mean, every song on this album is brilliant. I think I prefer this to the one afterwards, which is even more. Well, we'll come on to that one in a couple of years. But this album for me is the perfect Pantera style, and could have had pretty much any song on here. Number 4 dropped out, fucking Hostile, which obviously being the chuck that was 1992, so I was 16 or so. 18. I was 18 by then. It was obviously swearing in it. It was always going to be a
fucking Hostile. I'm 18.
And seeing him live, I was lucky enough to see him live. I can't actually remember any of it at all. All I know was I was there. I think it was Reading actually, Reading or Download, Donington, Monster Rock, one of the two, and saw him live. But I have no recollection of it whatsoever. But at least I know I was there.
Why is that?
Because in them days.
Why is that, Jam?
Well, no, just because it was a long time ago, but I know in them days there's only one stage, so you definitely knew you were there all day. So I definitely saw it. I saw Queensryche, I think, in 1988, but I don't have any recollection of it. But I would have been there because I know I was at the gig, if you know what I mean. But I just don't. But I probably far too many beers.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, brilliant album, brilliant song.
I mean, at that stage, the swearing on albums wasn't so much.
No.
So it stood out, but a few years after this, it just became fuck. Every line had fuck in it, didn't it? And it was just like
it did, yeah.
You know, I mean, the impact of it was nothing then, wasn't it? Later on,
you wouldn't have been able to release this song called fucking Hostile in 4 years earlier. Probably no label would have put it out, I don't think, or maybe an independent one, some sort of punk label. But yeah, it was changed a bit after Guns N' Roses, I suppose. Type of destruction.
It's all Guns N' Roses' fault.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. Okay, no, good choice, mate. I like that song. Right, what you got then, Dom?
Yeah, that was a great album too. I mean, when it came out, as you said, it just was a game changer. And anyway. Okay, number 4 for me is Extreme, 3 Sides to Every Story. This song is called Color Me Blind. I always thought this was just a terrific song. It wasn't a single, I don't believe, but why do we dream in black and white? Very melodic, catchy as hell. They were, again, this is another band that was just firing on all cylinders for this album, because the last one was a success, so they were able to just stretch out and do their Queen thing that they have wanted to do in their entire career. So lots of different sounds on this album, symphonic stuff and ballads, but straight up rockers as well. This is one of them.
Is it double album? Is it double album?
Well, 3 sides.
Oh, right, yeah.
3 sides, to every story. So I think it ended up being about 15 tracks or something, which for a band at that time, it was just a regular CD. But this is a really good album.
The funny thing, I don't, for some reason, I didn't. That got a bit slated, this album. And you know what you're like when you're younger, you take notice of what the fucking press say, and it got slated saying it was, you know, after the porno graffiti, it was sort of slated a little bit, and it wasn't. And I didn't ever listen to this album, but now,
wow,
I know, but now you hear a lot about this album, and it's one of them albums that obviously that's over the test of time. You know, over time, people have looked back and saw how good it is. So I think it's one I've got to, and I know I always say it, but I think, you know, that's one I've got to listen to, because I love pornography. I love that
for
album.
you, Lee. Yeah, it's that's definitely one that you're going to want to listen to, because I assume it was just sound fresh if you listen to it now. It's a proper album where it just has ebbs and flows, and everything's kind of connected, and yeah, it really is a great achievement. Yeah, I guess they could be accused of being self-indulgent on this, just because they had kind of free reins, because they were still, you know, riding on the high in the last one. But it certainly ain't no Use Your Illusion.
I think I was the same.
Right, what was that, Jan? Did it affect you like that? Did you hear shit things about it?
I loved Extreme 2 and was one of my favourite albums, but obviously by 92, as we just mentioned the last two, White Zombie, Pantera, my taste had moved on, you know, being a bit younger, and I just didn't ever I've never listened to the album. I think I've heard a couple of songs off it, but I've never listened to it.
See, that's two of us. That's two of us. See, yeah, it's
holy
good though.
Shit.
It's pretty
you guys
cool,
are the reason why all these bands died a horrible death.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah.
It probably is.
You were reading the press and believing all the hype.
I know. Well, it's just one of those things, isn't it? But anyway, no, I think it's definite one. I've been thinking about it as well, because I've heard, you know, we've been talking about Extreme, and over the last few episodes, I've been thinking I've never heard them fucking albums, and
that's the one, man. Go for listen to it.
Yeah. Okay, good one, cool. So for my number 4, this band brought out a great album, and at the time, this is another album that I didn't actually listen to, and I loved the band in the 80s, through the 80s. So it's another band I left behind, but went back to just a few years ago, and it's TNT. Mentioned them loads of times, with Tony Harnell being the singer. It's a ballad, and it's an amazing emotional song called Lionheart, off of Realised Fantasies. So this is they stripped their sound back a little bit. So during the 80s, they were you just mentioned Queen, Don, with Extreme. They very much were influenced by Queen, with some progressive parts and strange little guitar bits that, you know, they love Queen. Both who was the guitarist for blimmin' TNT? Ronnie Latecro and Tony Harnell. They're big fans of Queen, and that goes through their music. But it was a lot more stripped down, this Lionheart album. But it's got some amazing songs. Lionheart's got such a nice little guitar melody that's sort of melancholy running through it. One of my favourite ballads, actually. So that's it. Lionheart, Realised Fantasies, and a great vocal by Tony Harnell, who still is a great vocalist somehow. Some of these vocalists keep hold of their vocal, like, you know, from the 80s. It's just amazing. But he can sing amazingly high. He's one of these, what you just said earlier. He's one of them ones I do like, that can sing really fucking high. But,
absolutely, no, he's
he is. I don't know. I don't like all singers that are high, because sometimes I find it a bit grating. But you've got to have a good tone to your voice. Right, shall we move on? Because I got a bit of stick. I got a bit of stick this morning on my KK Priest video, because I said about Rob Halford. Someone didn't like it, so we should move on quickly, because I'm not allowed.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed an opinion, so we should carry on. Track 5. Okay, what you got, Jack?
Brilliant.
Right, going to as the old staple and one of my favourite bands, the Ramones, and their penultimate album, and probably for me, I like Too Tough to Die, but this is probably one of my favourite albums as well, actually. It's penultimate album, and it's probably the most straightforward rock/metal album they've done. It's not really punky at all. I think even Lee might like it. The Strength to Endure is track 5, and it's just a sing along, brilliant Ramones song. I love this album. Is so consistent. Anxiety. There's some great songs on this album, and this is the tour. I was lucky enough to see him on the first time at Rock City. I'm so glad I went because obviously not with us anymore. But yeah, Strength to Endure. I think Lee might like it, maybe, possibly. But it's a straightforward rock song. It's not punky at all. And Jerry Ramone's never the best singer in the world, but he really does some good stuff on this song. And it's not ballad, but it's sort of I don't know what to describe it as really. Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, yeah, it's a great song, great album. I didn't actually like their last album particularly much. That we'll come on to later. There's some okay songs on it, but this is definitely for me the most rock, most metal, most consistent album they've probably ever done. So
wow,
check it out if you've not heard it. London Bizarre, Strength to Endure. I think it was a single as well at one point. I think it was a single.
Would you say that the old argument about people wearing band T-shirts that they don't actually know the songs, the albums?
Yeah.
Would you say the Ramones are the most famous for that? People
Ramones and Misfits, yeah.
Ramones,
annoys me.
Guns N' Roses, Nirvana, and Misfits. I mean, you see people walking
Motorhead.
around.
Motorhead, yeah.
Motorhead's another one, yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
The amount of people that only know Ace of Spades that wear a Motorhead T-shirt.
Yeah.
They only have 23 albums. Have you ever picked one of them up?
No, you're right. It's a weird one. It annoys some people so much, but for me, I look at it as if someone might see that T-shirt and think, "Who's that?" and might actually get to listen to the music.
Yeah,
you never know.
Oh, you are so positively.
Today I am.
Positive.
Today I
can
am.
see both stories,
Just-
but the amount of people who wear Misfits T-shirts, I bet they couldn't name a single fucking song. A single song. I bet most people can't name a Misfits song unless, obviously, a fan of Metallica, perhaps you might be able to name Last Caress or something, or Die My Darling. But yeah, I mean, it's just, annoys me. It does annoy me, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
But even those people probably think those are Metallica songs. So
probably, yeah.
You probably even know.
Yeah.
Anyway, God,
Okay.
old men bitching.
Okay.
These fucking kids these days.
Oh, mate, yes. I mean, it's Primark's fault, obviously. They sell them. So there you go. Right, Jam, what you got, mate? Track 5.
No, I don't mind.
Oh, yeah, shit. Sorry. You done the Ramones, didn't you? Sorry. Donovan.
Ramones. Yeah, he did the Ramones.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of Jam, I've got one of his favorite bands.
Ooh.
Speaking of Misfits as well. This is my favorite Danzig track of them all. Dirty Black Summer.
Great song. Yeah.
This song just, I love it so much. That riff and everything. And it's just got such a grimy Black Summer feel to it. It's so good. Never get tired of this. Still just one of those high up songs. Down, 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 down. A lot of Danzig stuff is kind of faster paced. But I love when he brings it down like this and Her Black Wings and things like that, where he really gets to kind of emote and, do that sub Elvis kind of thing that he loves to do. This just has a great feel, great riff. I think it's for sure it's my favorite Danzig song, kind of the crowning achievement for me. There you go. Oh, sorry, that's from How the Gods Kill, Danzig 3.
And obviously don't forget to mention the cover, which is...
yes.
If you don't, this H.R. Geiger, obviously he did Alien, created the visuals for Alien, did the cover for this, and it's a fantastic piece of art in itself. It's very good.
Nice.
He also did Emerson, Lake and Palmer brain salad surgery from about 25 years before that as well.
Okay, well, talk about covers. This had a bit of a controversial cover. This is the band. There you go, Rage Against the Machine. So it's their debut album. Obviously, this did blow me away at the time, big time. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. Obviously, political band through and through. That's not for me, politics really. But so lyrically, I thought it was clever the way Zach De La Rocha would spit the lyrics out. I thought it was quite cool. I don't like rap music, but there's something about him and his aggression that made it different. I think the music as well, it's a strange one. It's like 70s inspired guitar work over rap music is a bit strange, and obviously that came more into fruition with Audio Slave as well, didn't it? That the way it mixed up with Chris Cornell. But Bullet in the Head is the song, and I think I could have probably chosen. I probably could have chosen any of that. I think there's 10 tracks on this. I think they're all really strong. It's their best album for me, although they made a couple of really good ones later on as well. I was hoping they was going to get back together. I saw some tour dates, but I don't know if it was a load of bullshit a little while ago before COVID hit. Some tour dates came up because I've never seen them, and then they disappeared. Said it wasn't nothing to do with them, and I don't know what's happened about that.
Yeah, they are back together. I think they are planning something because they were doing that other band with Chuck D, and was it Chuck D or something with the guitarist? I've forgotten his name.
I can't remember.
Prophets of Rage.
Yeah, Prophets of Rage. I saw them at Download. I saw them at Download as well. That's the closest I've got to see Rage Against the Machine, really. But it didn't have the same. I don't know. It just didn't feel right, and it didn't feel like it when you heard Rage Against the Machine back then, and the aggression and the like they meant it. When I saw Prophets of Rage a couple of years ago, it didn't have the same effect. They were going on about fucking voting for Jeremy Corbyn, and I was like, what the fuck is this all about? Stop talking about that shit. Do you know what I mean? And I just want to listen to the music, but it just didn't. I don't know. It's just, I think when they were younger and fresher and really meant it, when you see them trying to replicate that with Prophets of Rage, it didn't really do anything for me, really. But there you go. Rage Against the Machine.
Great song.
A bit of inspired lots of shit music, though, I've got to say. This album and this band, they're a fucking excellent band, but they went on to influence some fucking bad music. That's the problem. What do you reckon, Doc?
I could go on for about 15 minutes about my hate for Rage Against the Machine.
You can, but I'll edit you out. No, you can say whatever you want, mate. That's what it's all about. If you can say this shit,
there's no point. Yeah, absolutely. I find it hilarious that you went and saw Prophets of Rage and were complaining because they were talking about politics when that's all Rage Against the Machine we're all about politics. And,
I know they're all about politics, but you sort of, even though I'm not into that, you sort of felt that Rage Against the Machine, they meant what they were saying. With Prophets, it's almost like it almost felt like a cover band, and they were trying to, but it didn't have the same effect. Do you know what I mean? Right. It just didn't feel right. They were older. You've got to mellow out when you get older, ain't you? Stop being so aggressive.
Fucking hostile.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, track number 6. What you got, Jan?
Yeah, okay. Keeping the positivity up here. Here we go. This is possibly one of the best albums of the year for me, and slightly different from the previous album, and that is the awesome Angel Dust by Faith No More. And song is Everything's Ruined. Sorry. This album came out. I mean, the real thing was a tour de force, I guess, if you like. It was a brilliant album. Everybody loved it. And they were really, really brave doing this album.
Not everyone.
Apart from Dom.
This album is so different to the real thing. It's unbelievable, but it's really quite hard to get into. If you know what I mean. If you listen to it the first time, you might think, I'm not sure about that at all. But it's one of those albums that really, really need to be into it. You need to listen to it a lot to get into it. But once you're there, it's brilliant. I could have picked any song off this, even stuff like Crack Hitler and Jizz Lobber, and everything's different on it. They're just great album. Mike Patton, obviously great singing voice, and this song obviously starts off with a bit of piano. All the songs just change, they all morph, they all start as one thing and go to different things, and I think it's probably my favourite Faith No More album. I think it's better than the real thing personally, but that's my view. And Everything's Ruined was a single. I think it wasn't the first single. I think it might be the second or third single released. And this is probably one of the more accessible songs, I guess, on the album. Some of it, as I say, is quite brutal and quite almost not unlistenable. But I can see why people wouldn't like it, if you know what I mean. But it's just one of them albums that grows on it for me. I don't know what you guys think.
We'll get on to that soon. Don't worry.
Lee?
Dominic,
do you know this album because you really liked The Real Thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I do know the album. Yeah. I didn't. I like the real thing better. It was completely different. Like Jam said, probably a little bit more accessible. The real thing, definitely. But some of those things they were doing on the real thing were heading for Angel Dust for sure. But yeah, I find some of the extreme stuff on there a bit too much for me on Angel Dust. That's all. It's just a bit too. I mean, I don't know. A lot of bands around that time were mixing it up. Like you said, Everything's Ruined was a very accessible track. And then the next thing, they'll be like Mike Patton will be doing something, screaming his fucking head off, and you can even understand the word he's saying. You know, it's just like, they did mix it up a lot. And it was a lot harder to get into, admittedly, this album. But I liked probably, 2/3 of this album. And the other third I could skip.
All right.
But yeah, I didn't like anything after it, by the way. I'm afraid.
Oh, that's just good stuff after that, but anyway.
Yeah, no. But anyway, what you got then, Dom?
Okay, well, you know me. I'm going back to them. Slaughter had their second album in 1992.
Wild Side?
The Wild Side.
Yeah.
Great album. This song really blows me away. This is, I know I say this, well, I don't say it a lot, but this probably is in my top 100 songs of all time. I remember seeing them. This album had just come out, I think, that week, and they supported Ozzy on No More Tears. So it was the first time I had heard this song, and it just blew me away. It's kind of an epic. It's about seven and change minutes long. It's called Times They Change. Yeah, I just think it's fantastic. One of my favorite choruses, just probably of all time. It just really hits me right here.
You think he was starting to sing a little bit different at this stage, wasn't he? Do you think his voice changed a little bit at this stage? He weren't doing
Not for this album, no. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. It just sounds like Mark Slaughter to me. But no, I think by this one he still had it. Maybe. What do you think about his voice? You think it's
I thought
changed?
A little bit, but I think the album itself as well was a lot less immediate, wasn't it, than that first album? I think. We know when you heard a little straight away, it was like, wow, that was so catchy, that first album, Stick It To You, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's probably a little more adult.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
You can hear them kind of growing.
Oh, yeah, not a bad thing.
Oh, no, I mean, a lot of these bands like White Lion and Winger and things were making more...
Yeah, intelligent music.
I'm not going to say serious music, but they were able to... They didn't have to have that pop sheen for everything. Yeah. They didn't, because their companies kind of gave up on these bands anyway. So they weren't pressured into having everything be a potential single.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were able to stretch out a bit, and man, I just love this song so much. Times They Change.
Great
from
choice,
Slaughter.
Man. Great choice. My number 6 is Everything's Ruined by Faith No More. So there you go.
Whoa, that's why you weren't saying anything about it. Sorry, ruined your surprise. I thought he was being really quiet about this. This is very strange.
No, I mean there's a few songs that are really quite catchy, and this is one of them. It's got a lot of really good groove to it. Like I said, it sort of breaks after that little piano bit. It goes straight into it, and just straight away it's one of them. It's got a nice little groove to it, and Mike Patton sings very sort of like, I suppose, deeper in this. He's got apparently a really good range. One of the I've heard him do all sorts of vocals. I saw him in a band download, and it was just screaming. Just couldn't even.
Oh, they were good though. I like them.
Oh man, my missus just turned around to me and went, "What the fuck is this?" He was like, all the way through it. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Was that Tomahawk?
No, it's Saint Cross. Is it Saint Cross?
Yeah, Dead Cross.
Dead Cross. That's it. Oh my God.
They're really. Yeah, I like them. They're a bit hardcore for me, but yeah, I quite like them.
Yeah, I was like, because I didn't know who they were, and I thought, Faith No More, you might get a couple of good songs. No.
Maybe they'll do Epic.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not.
It's Dave Lombardo is the drummer, isn't he?
Oh, was he?
Slayer.
I don't know. I was so far back because I couldn't handle the noise. To tell you the truth, it was. I moved further and further back. It was just.
Yeah, I was there as well. So we're in the same vicinity.
Yes, exactly. But yeah. Anyway, Everything's Ruined is it's a great track, really catchy. and one of the more accessible ones on Angel Dust, without a doubt. Okay, track 7, guys. What we got?
Okay, couldn't be more different from that. I'm going for Bon Jovi from Keep the Faith, the epic Dry County.
Great track.
The album that Lee thought was on Young Guns.
Yeah. It does sound like it should be, though.
It does, yeah. No, I mean, I'm not a massive Bon Jovi fan. I think we're all the same, aren't we? We all like the early stuff, and I mean, I don't mind a few newer tracks. I didn't even mind a couple of tracks they released last year. Not classic Bon Jovi by any means, but and you say his vocals has gone, sounds all right on the recordings to me, but you don't know how much help he's had. But certainly, Dry County is one of the better songs on Keep the Faith. I think Keep the Faith's a fairly good album, but Dry County it's unusual for Bon Jovi to do a 9-minute song, but it certainly builds up. It's got a brilliant guitar solo at the end. I think a 6-minute mark. It sort of kicks into a slightly pacier song, I guess, if you want. And then say it's got brilliant Richie Sambora guitar solo in it, and just a classic Bon Jovi. So I don't know if they play it live. I think they probably do they? I don't know.
Not sure, mate. I love this album. I thought it was nearly as strong as any of those ones before it, to tell you the truth. I mean, I don't know. Slippery When Wet, I suppose after that I sort of started to go off them a bit, but I caught up with this album a little while after, it came out, and I was quite surprised. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
Yeah, that's good. Title track's a good track, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. No, it's good ballads on there as well. So, good album. What you got, Dom?
I got a band me and Jam have discussed before. This is Trouble. This is their second album on Deaf American, which, I mean, if I had to choose, I'd probably choose this one over the other one. Even though I love the self-titled one, this one every track is just fantastic. This song is called Memories Garden. I believe it was the single and video off of this album. Just kind of Sabbathy, he's got kind of that old Aussie kind of timbre to his voice from like the early Sabbathy, from the original Sabbath albums, but super riffy. This guy that writes these riffs for this band, whoa, just terrific, catchy as well. I don't want it to. It doesn't sound stoner or doomy. It's much more melodic than that. Almost like a super heavy Beatles or something, just almost psychedelic. So
Lee's not gonna like it then.
Oh, I know, that's like the you can't mention the B word. But surely you have liked things in the past, Lee, that have been influenced by the Beatles.
Don't know. No. Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway,
what's the name of the album, Dom?
Sorry?
What's the name of the album? Is it Green something? Isn't it Green?
No, this is Manic Frustration.
Oh, what was the green one then? Green something.
Plastic Green Head.
That's it, yeah.
That comes a few years later.
Oh, no, okay,
they were still under Rick Rubin's thumb at this point. But all the better for it. Just a terrific album, Manic Frustration. If you do like that self-titled one, Jam, definitely seek this one out. I think you'll love it.
I think I know this song. This is one of them albums that, again, I haven't probably listened to that I probably should do. But just so much stuff in there.
Yeah. No, I remember buying this the same day as the Lizard, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, check it out if you haven't heard it, Jam. I think you'll really dig it.
Yeah,
Lee.
Why not me? Why not me then? Why didn't you mention it? Why can't I check it out?
Because you don't want to.
Because I just said they're like a heavy metal Beatles, and you've got the hump. That's why.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm actually enjoying myself today because I've got Bon Jovi Dry County because
holy crap.
I couldn't choose it last time, and I think when I got to 92 and I saw that album out, I thought I've got to have that because I mentioned it last time. I made myself look like a fucking idiot. So at least I can get it right this time. I love it. I actually love that song. And I'm really shocked that it wasn't on the other, the fucking Young Guns soundtrack, wherever it was. It just, I don't know why I thought it was, but it just sounds like something that should be on that. But it's very, it's got that Western sort of feel for me, which I actually quite liked when Bon Jovi or John Bon Jovi got into that sort of stuff. But yeah, enough said about, we spoke about Bon Jovi last night, these actual, him as a artist, but you know, what he does now, who gives a shit? But back then, I think he was a talented guy. So Dry County, there you go. That's my number 7. Great song. All right.
Is that first? We'll have two consecutive matching songs. I don't think we've done
You never know. It could be 3. Oh. I've got a feeling it might be. So
no, not for me, because it's really can't. It's impossible. So,
oh right, okay, all right, no worries. I thought it might be. I thought it could be. It could be possible. But track 8, what you got then, Jack?
Well, we've talked about this. I won't go on about it. It's Rage Against the Machine, and it's Fistful of Steel. Which, and I wanted to pick one of the ones that perhaps weren't the bigger singles, like a Bomb Track or Killing Your Name or whatever. And Fistful of Steel's are full of anger and a great track on the album. I could pick any track off this album. For me, it's their best album, I think. Some good songs on some of the later albums, but this is with a lot of bands. Their first album is quite often their best album, not always, but you know they've had 3 or 4 years of touring and building up the songs and filtering out the ones that aren't so good. And you know the first albums are quite often the best albums. And Fistful of Steel is a head stomper, a rage song. Certainly not to listen to if you want to put yourself in a good mood, but that way. It's a great song, great band.
Yeah, great song, man. Excellent. Right, what you got, Dom?
I've got
you got Rage Against the Machine? You got Rage Against the Machine?
Well, you just have to wait. How many tracks are on that album, by the way?
10, right?
Yeah, 10.
All right, so it can't be my number 12. No, I'm afraid I don't have any. This is a little known. Again, sorry. Little known band called Star Star. This was such a breath of fresh air for me in 1992, because while a lot of bands were still releasing records like Slaughter and things like that, there weren't many new bands coming out in 1992 that would have the kind of sound I like. But this was pure glam. This was taking cues from like T-Rex and stuff, you know.
Oh, right.
Like original glam, but kind of put it through a modern riffy machine, you know. This track is called Diggy Dragster. And the album is called The Love Drag Years. I've since found out this does have quite a cult following, like all these records do. After the internet, and I've done some investigations. I've seen this posted quite a few times on some of those sites, so that's nice to know that at least they had a few fans. But as I said, this record for 1992 for me got played a lot just because it was so unashamedly pop glam metal. It was just fantastic. So there you go. Star Star's the band.
It's nice, man, that people they were still getting deals and stuff, bands like that. I just thought it was gone completely, to tell you the truth.
Well, I mean, you never heard from them again after that. But that's a bit of a myth, because I mean, for instance, Slaughter the Wildlife came out in 92, and that still debuted at number 7 or something. So people were still buying these sort of records. I mean, obviously it was come down, but it wasn't just a complete wasteland,
No.
Were they named after the Rolling Stones song?
Yeah, I believe so. Yo, a star, fuck a star, fuck a star, fuck a star, fuck a. Yeah. I would imagine that it was, yeah.
Cool. Right, okay. I'm going to one of the best albums that came out that year from Black Sabbath, Dehumanizer.
Oh.
So, such an aggressive album. For probably the most aggressive vocal that Ronnie's ever, for me, for me, one of the most aggressive vocals that Ronnie's ever had on an album. I don't know what it was. It was like, I don't know if he came back in and was like, right, I'm going to fucking give it some. I don't know. But
yeah, I think so, yeah.
This one on obviously his next solo album, which was, what was the name of that?
Strange Highways.
Strange Highways. Very similar vocal style on both of those albums. Really aggressive. This is the song which is probably one of a lot of people's favourite songs from that album. It's a great riff going through it. It sort of has more of a modern sort of feel to it, even though it was Sabbath. I think a lot of people say it could have fitted on maybe Heaven and Hell or Mob Rules, but I think all the way through this album, it had a slightly modern edge to it, although it's classic sounding still. But a brilliant song. And I think it's the song that probably gripped me the most when I first heard the album. Others on the album have slightly overtaken it over time, but I do love the song. I absolutely love it. Apart from the
I think Jam wasn't it on both of our lists on the
I think it was, yeah. The only bit I don't like is the outro to it. No, I just don't like that bit. I don't know why. Because it doesn't sound like something Ronnie would sing. Do you know what I mean? It's not something he would sing. But Ronnie, I loved it when Ronnie used to do his little outro. He used to it sounded like he was ad-libbing parts of the song that he's already sung. I used to love it when he used to do that shit. But yeah, an absolutely massive track and a breath of fresh air, I think, in 1992 for sure.
Brilliant track. I think I didn't pick it because it was on my Black Sabbath list. That was
yeah, exactly. But what a great song.
Brilliant song.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, we're on to track 9.
Right, 9. Go back to an album that Don mentioned earlier, and one of the best Danzig albums, and it's obviously Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill, and the song Do You Wear the Mark. Yeah, as Dom said, it's probably the most. I think a lot of Danzig fans think it's the best album he did. I'm more of a Danzig 2 person, but Danzig 3 is probably more metal. Probably it's not as bluesy as Danzig. And I'm not a fan of blues particularly, like Lee isn't or Dom, but Danzig 3 is probably more metal. And Do You Wear the Mark is a classic song. Sort of starts a bit slow and then goes in it, but Danzig's vocals always Danzig. I don't know how to describe it other than being Danzig. I mean, Jim Morrison, Elvis, however you want to call him, but brilliant. Do You Wear the Mark? Great album. If you want to get into Danzig, I'd suggest anybody who didn't listen to Danzig or haven't heard Danzig apart from Mother, probably listen to Danzig 3. It's probably the most straightforward metal album that he's done, and certainly production is good because it's still a deaf American. Is this the last Deaf American one, or was it? I can't remember.
Danzig 4 was still, Danzig 4 was still the original band, and the last one they did for Deaf.
The last probably what they call classic Danzig album, Danzig 4, but Danzig 3 is definitely worth listening to. Do You Wear the Mark? Dirty Black Summer says brilliant song that Don mentioned, and Body it's just full of great songs.
I agree. Yeah.
Cool. What you got then, Don?
I've got first appearance by this band, but I think they'll be on future years as well. This is King's X. I know their first 2 albums, everybody says are the best, and they never really hit those heights. I kind of like when they got a bit more pop and a bit more streamlined with their songwriting. The one before this, Faith, Hope, and Love, was where I kind of started with them. That's the one that had It's Love and We Are Finding Who We Are and stuff. This track was actually quite a big radio hit in the States. It's called Black Flag, and it's from the album that is self-titled, so it's King's X. But I think this is probably their strongest song ever, I think. Just catchy as hell, fantastic chorus, great riff, very just kind of, just your hard rock. They weren't really changing the world with this. I think that's why some of the more kind of proggy fans liked when they went a bit outside, and kind of doodled a bit more.
He's done some stuff with George Lynch, hasn't he? Lately.
He has. I was just listening to that record last night. Yeah.
Any good?
KXM, I think it's called.
Is it any good?
Something like that. It's great. Yeah, it's great to hear him with these kind of riffy, Lynchy kind of riffs with his really soaring vocal. The most surprising thing I've ever heard about King's X, this is kind of off the cuff, but when Deep Purple were going to make Slaves and Masters, when they had lost Gillan again, apparently they asked Doug Pinnick to be their lead singer. That blew me away. But he didn't take it, so they got Jill Lynn Turner. But kind of a what would that sound like? Anyway, King's X, another band you'll see coming up because they are another one that were consistent through the 90s and 2000s for releasing new music. So they'll definitely be one of mine.
Nice,
cool.
Okay, my number 9. This is their second album. Talking about George Lynch Mob, and the self-titled album. And this is more of a Dokken sort of sound than I suppose, because Lynch Mob had that sort of bluesy sort of sound, don't they? Sort of rock and roll, dirty, sort of bluesy sound. But this is more Dokken sort of sound. This is When Darkness Calls. I love this song. I just think it's great. It's got some great guitar work from George Lynch. I actually, when this album came out and I had both of these, Lynch Mob, Wicked Sensation, I liked the Lynch Mob album better at the time. I don't know why. Yeah, I know. And over time, I think I've gone back to the debut more. But I don't know. I think it was a little bit more commercial, this one, don't you think? The self-titled album? A little bit
I guess
more.
so, yeah. And I got to be honest, I haven't heard it since it first came out. I think I listened to it a few times, and it's just, everything I loved about Wicked Sensation album had kind of disappeared on this one.
Yeah,
to be honest.
It did feel different. It did feel not as grimy and dangerous, I suppose.
And of course, he lost Ani Logan, who I loved his vocals on that first album as well. So it just sounded like a bit like more of the other bands of this genre. They didn't really kind of stand out. But I haven't listened to it forever. I'd be willing to check it out again and see if
there is. Yeah, I do. I think it's a really strong album. Maybe just not quite as good as the debut, but this has a real Dokken feel to it for me. When Darkness Calls, Lynch Mob, my number 9. Not Lynch Mob anymore though. Not allowed to be Lynch Mob anymore, by the way. No such band. Anyway, yes, let's keep quiet about that. Number 10, Jam.
Number 10. Surprised it's not come up yet, but then again, I guess it might be waiting for the end. Probably the best album of 1992, Alice in Chains, Dirt, and Hate to Feel. I've gone with as after about 20 looks at the track listing because it's ridiculous. Because the CD is different to what it says on the back, and they're both wrong.
Well, I'm going to get onto mine later, so I'm not sure if I fucked up or not. But it doesn't really matter because even if I've got the song wrong, which I've given away that I've got one of the songs, it doesn't matter because I could just choose another one.
Yeah, exactly. But, it's just really weird. I think one of the songs, Down in a Hole or something like that, is later on the album, but in America is one of the third songs. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. But I've gone with Hate to Feel, which is what I wanted to go with anyway. I could have picked any song on this as well. I think we've probably talked too much about this album, how good it is. Lane Staley's brilliant vocals, and it's certainly not a happy album as we all know. But it is a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned. It definitely Alice in Chains' best album. I think most people would say that if you're a fan. And great song, great album.
Very, very.
If you never heard it, I say once again, get out. Where have you been for the last 40 years, 30 years? Have a listen to it.
Listening to glam metal, Don?
Yeah.
Well, on to my track 10, Steelheart.
Anyway, right, okay. That's a brilliant track, by the way. Very doomy as well. Hate to Feel. I love it. I love that song. Anyway, well, you got Steelheart, mate.
Steelheart, yeah. It was like a fucking roller coaster.
It's good though. It's good. It is good though.
So Steelheart's second album. All anybody ever talks about this band now is the note he holds on that one ballad. This apparently is like the longest, highest note ever or something. And then that he sang the music for that horrible rock star movie.
I fucking love that film. What are you talking about?
No. When at the end, when he's finally away from the horrible rock and roll excesses,
I agree.
He's playing in a flannel shirt in a fucking coffee bar, and he's finally a real musician now.
Yeah, they should have. Yeah, I agree. They should have just cut that ending, and that's it. I agree on that. The ending was
Miles Kennedy's in that, isn't he? Doesn't he make a little cameo?
He does, yeah. He jumps on stage and takes over on the mic. Yeah, but,
does he?
Yeah.
So anyway, so the singer for Steelheart did the vocals for.
You're going to try and pronounce his name? You're going to try and pronounce the singer's name? Because I fucking can't.
I'm not going to. No.
The singer's good. The singer's good.
That his initials are MM. I can tell you that.
Yes.
Okay.
I know.
So anyway, this is their second album. It's called Tangled in Rains. Really good melodic rock album. This track actually kind of burns. It's one of the more rockin' songs on here. Obviously, it's number 11, so it was never going to be a
Number
singular.
10. Number 10. 10.
Sorry.
Number 10. You haven't fucked up, have you? Number 10.
Oh, did I say 11?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant 10. It is number 10. I swear it's number 10. It's called Dancing in the Fire.
Dancing in the fire because the ice is melting slow.
That's the one.
I don't know. It's because I've got number 10 as well. Come on! See, I was listening to Steelheart. I was listening to Steelheart as well. I fucking love this album. It's their best album by far for me.
Me too.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
Man,
I did not see that one coming whatsoever.
I mean, to tell you the truth, I know we're not talking about Dancing in the Fire, but that first track on this album, I think it was Tangled in Rains. When I first heard that, it blew me away, and the vocal on it was just like, ain't got time to listen. I thought, what the fuck? And he just, that's a real some heavy stuff going on that album as well, apart from the catchy melodic stuff. He has got one of the best voices ever. Absolutely.
MM.
Nearly died as well. He fucking hung from the he was doing a gig and he was hanging upside down on the fucking lighting rig and he fell and landed on his head.
Oh dear.
Whoa.
So he nearly died and after this album, and then he came back years later, but
shit.
Yeah, for amazing voice.
That's what he gets for trying to be Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but Eddie Vedder's had nothing to live for at the time, so he didn't care, did he? He's like, if I die, I die.
Very depressed. Yeah, very depressed.
But no, what a great track, man. Dancing in the Fire. Fun song, rocking.
Wow. Cool.
I know.
Cool.
This is actually Steelheart. That album was one of the ones I could have left till the end because I could have had anything off it, to tell you the truth.
Agreed. Yeah, that's why it's so far down on mine as well, because I was going to need some later tracks, and that one came up. I was like, yeah, that's a barnstormer. Let's put that on.
Fucking right.
Cool.
It is, yeah. You'd in fact, I know you might not listen to it, Jay. You'd love that album. It's heavy.
I've not heard it.
It's heavy, but it's melodic. There's a couple of ballads on it which are excellent as well. I love them and all, but the whole album is just. I think it's easily their strongest album. Easy, because it's got that real crunch to it as well.
Yeah,
heaviness to it. Okay, all right, good one, Dom.
Ooh.
Good one, me.
Right, good one, Lee.
Yes, I know. Right,
high fives all round.
Yes, track 11, guys. The penultimate song on your playlist.
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go with. Obviously, no band, no. Oh no, they are. Well, they are still going. Actually, I don't know who's going to be singing for them. But anyway, Stone Temple Pilots, often cited as Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains clones, or sounded like, certainly on the first album, which I don't see at all personally. Obviously, they're not from the Seattle area. I don't think. I'm not sure where they are from. But yeah, first album, Core, brilliant. I love this album from start to finish. The song I've gone with is Cracker Man, but. For me, it's, when you talk about those songs where you have to play two of them together, for me, you can't play Cracker Man without playing Wet My Bed first, if you know what I mean, because it's like a slow intro bit and then it goes straight into the riff of Cracker Man. So Cracker Man is the song, which is the rocking song, but you need to play both songs together. And yeah, obviously late great Scott Weiland on vocals. And I just think they're a really good band, Stone Temple Pilot. I think a lot of people like Purple as their favourite album. I think I prefer the first album, which probably was, go on. It's sort of got the Seattle sound, if you like, but it doesn't sound like Pearl Jam to me. It doesn't sound like Alice in Chains either. So I've
I mean,
I
I think, sorry, mate, I think that like a couple of the songs maybe had, you know, like the Creep song was a bit like that sort of sound. But yeah, I agree
plus
with you.
she's kind of doing that vocal, you know, and off you know, he's kind of doing that. Like, so, but they moved on quite quickly from that sound, I think.
They did.
Yeah.
And I love the first two albums, but I've got to admit it, after that, I just couldn't. That third album just didn't get me. It had more Beatles
That's my
inspired
favorite
stuff. It's because it sounded like the fucking Beatles. That's why.
There you go. Well, the album they did when Scott come back again, and you know, not long before he died, I guess, it was 2010, something like that. I thought that was a really good album, really strong album. There's a really good song off that. I won't, obviously, it might be on my list, but yeah, I thought they were really good. And I did see them on that tour then with Scott singing. I think they played Download, in fact, not surprisingly. And yes, you know, obviously, last probably true rock and roll star, wasn't he? Really, died. You know. From excess, and I've always liked his voice. I liked him doing Velvet Revolver and all that, and brilliant band. Stone Temple Pilots, cool, and Cracker Man, great song.
Cool. You like a bit of Stone Temple Pilots, then, Dom? Yeah.
I do. I think, this album, I think, is a bit derivative to what was going on at the time. But as I said, I think they found their own identity really quickly after this. When Purple came out and Vaseline and stuff, you could really tell that they had more to say than just, you know, being a grunge clone. And I think progressively they did that as well. That's why I like Tiny Music so much, because it doesn't really sound anything like the Seattle sound at all.
I mean,
sounds like the fucking Beatles.
I mean, I always remember getting that Core album and that fucking riff on Dead and Bloated when it kicked in. I was like, fucking hell, that's heavy as fuck. But I don't know. They was really mixed in with that. Obviously, I went to see them live as well on the Purple tour. So at Brixton Academy, I think it was.
Cool.
It's a good gig.
We can't let this album go until we speak about Sex Tech Thing ripping off War Machine. Okay.
Yeah.
I used to play that in my band as well. I used to play Sex Type Thing in the band I was in as well. So,
Did you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Another useless bit of trivia for you about myself.
Did you wear a dress like he used to? No.
Jeans,
with the smeared lipstick and everything?
No, just a jeans, mate, my t-shirt. No.
And your mullet.
I mean, mullet, of course, perm mullet. There you go. Right, okay, yeah, good one, mate.
Is it me again?
Pilots. Yeah.
No, it's me again. Okay, well, speaking of Seattle, surprisingly, but this is Faster Pussycat's third album called Whipped, which did absolutely nothing, but I love it. They really, again, these bands were kind of allowed to make records that weren't so cookie cutter by this point. So these bands were stretching out a bit, writing more like mid-tempo things and not having the big punchy choruses, but still making great music. This is their tribute to Andy Wood. And this is called Mr. Love Dog. I just think it's fantastic. They did a great job of recreating Mother Love Bone's sound. It's got that Bone China, Crown of Thorns kind of, not really ballady, but you know what I mean. They did a fantastic job, and the choruses makes no sense at all, and it's fantastic. So if you love Temple of the Dog, check out Faster Pussycat's Mr. Love Dog, because it's really quite good, and it kind of sends that it chills up my spine. It's good.
Cool. Excellent, mate. Cool. Okay. Well, my number 11, the album's been mentioned already, and it's Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power, and it's probably no surprise the song I've actually chosen. So it's Hollow. It's one of the more mellow tracks. I love it. I Phil Anselmo's voice. There's something about it. Yeah, I need a cuddle. I do need a cuddle when I listen to this. Actually, it's very sad. But I don't know. I love Phil Anselmo. I'm not so much on his extreme vocals, and some of the bands he's in now, like Super Joint Ritual, now I could do without, But his vocal, when he mellows out and he does that sort of thing in this song, and when he does the stuff in Down, I love his voice. I think he's got a real sort of that deepness he's got. He's no one like it, is there? You know,
No.
he's a bit of a scary geezer, I must admit, sometimes when you see him speaking, you know. But was a great album. This is so weird for me. I don't make any sense whatsoever, because I prefer the next album, which is even heavier for some reason. And I think a lot of that is the sound of the album. That I've never heard a guitar sound, and we'll get on to the next album in later years, but I've never heard a guitar. Yeah, I've never heard a guitar sound as heavy, I don't think, as the next album, but it's still absolutely fantastic on Vulgar Display of Power as well. I think this was like you said, this should appeal to me even more, this album, which I love, by the way. But Hollow is a really cool mellow track, isn't it? Really a brilliant track. That's my number 11. There you go. Hollow. Epic. Could say that track.
Yep.
Okay. Number 12. We're at the end, guys.
We're at the end.
Oh, no. Number 12. Number 12.
Look at him taking a big stretch.
Number 12.
Oh yeah.
Right, we're going to the last great, for me anyway, last great Warrior Soul album. Salutations from the Ghetto Nation, and it's the title track, Ghetto Nation, and last track, I think. Yeah, it's after this they did a couple more albums. Well, they've done a few since then, but this is the last sort of consistent with a band great album. It's sort of a slower track, but epic, and he's got his normal rasping vocals, if you like, and angsty, I guess you'd call it these days, would you? I don't know, but Ghetto Nation is a brilliant song, and it's another one of those ones I keep going on about. You're surprisingly, I guess it's what you like, isn't it? But surprisingly put it's so late down in the album, it sort of feels like it could have been the single almost, and although it's a bit long, it's probably about 6 minutes or so, but it's an epic closing song for the album. I suppose it does close the album out quite well, but yeah, last good album from Warrior Soul, and for me anyway, and brilliant. If sort of bookends the first 3 albums, I say probably, I think Don probably agrees, are brilliant, and this is a good way of closing it out. And then it went a bit different on the next album, Chill Pill, was it? Not one of my favourites. You go, still on Geffen at this point as well, so still on a major.
Right,
absolutely. It's so good that it's my number 12.
Hey! Quite a few matchups today. I love it.
Brilliant.
Salutations from the Ghetto Nation. Yeah,
exactly.
Great.
Yeah,
really good. As you said, I think it's a great closer. It is a strong song, so it probably could have been higher up in the track listing, but I think it's a great closer and a great closing to that kind of epic 3-album set. So
it is. Yeah.
It's just,
so I was just going to say, it's always good when you have it's so hard to get a really good last track on an album. When you do get one, it sort of makes you want to listen to the album again in a way. When albums peter out, you sort of think, oh,
I get it.
If I can bother to listen to it. So yeah, it's good in that sense. But
yeah. So I think it's a bit. I can't understand why bands wouldn't want to put a really cool track at the end, because it almost makes you want to listen to the album again if it's good. If it's a shit track that peters out into nothingness, you think, well, it's disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there are a few of them that do that. But I can understand a really good beginning. You know what I mean? If your album ain't all killer, you can understand a good beginning. The middle peters out a little bit, but then at the end, it should surely be one of the best tracks on the album.
Yeah.
So there you go. Or certainly have a certain feel to it, like more either a slower sort of epic-y song, a mid-play sort of longer song or something like that, or even a rocking song, something to really, get you going. But some bands just choose to peter out. I don't understand that. Okay, it's my last track.
I can guess what your number 12 is going to be.
I think I know as well.
I don't actually. Yeah. I'm a bit concerned about what track it actually is. So I'm just going to say to Jam, right, mate, what's track 12? Because it doesn't really matter. What is it?
I think you're going to pick Wood by Alison James, but it might be track 13.
Well, I think that's 13. Yeah. So I think. So first of all, I had Angry Chair written down, which is what Google told me. Then I looked at your list, which you sent me, and said, look, in case you're confused, this is the track listing on whatever you had, and it was Down in a Hole was at track 12.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what I go with, to tell you the truth. I love both of them. What I'd say is that there was sort of a concept running through this album. I don't know if you remember, because I was on Headbangers Ball back in '92 when I was talking about this album. They was asked if the whole album was a concept of someone who'd gone to war, suffering from was it PTSD, whatever it is, and
traumatic stress disorder, yeah,
suffering from that, getting into drugs badly, obviously, and then it ended up a fucking mess at the end of dying, basically. And they was asked if it was a concept, and it was a concept apparently, from Rooster through to Angry Chair. And I thought Down in a Hole would be the last one, because it's like, you know, that's the end basically. But no, Down in a Hole is actually after the concept of that middle bit. So I love both tracks anyway, Angry Chair or Down in a Hole. It doesn't matter to me. Yeah. I just, and Wood, I would have loved Wood actually, because I just think that's one of the best tracks they've ever done it. And it's weird. It sort of tags onto the album and sounds totally different than the rest of the album. That Wood. Yeah. It's a totally different sort. The whole album sounds very doomy, apart from Wood. It sounds completely different. But yeah, it's a great album. It was probably my favorite album for many years through the 90s, I would have thought. And you know, it's still a Desert Island album as far as I'm concerned, because it's pretty much one of them perfect albums for me, every track. Yeah. There you go. So Alice in Chains, Down in a Hole, Angry Chair or Wood. Depending on what fucking anything tells you. So it doesn't really matter to me, because I love it. So that's where it was safe for me. It didn't really matter. So that's it. We're done on our track listing. So really interesting actually, because of I've got Kiss, Rage Against the Machine, and Steelheart. You know, it's just and you guys have got loads of different stuff as well, which is cool, which is really cool. We're going to do some quick honourable mentions, though, because we're already an hour and a half in.
Oh,
yes, we are. So we're going to go to, even though Jam's gone down the bottom there on my screen, we're going to go Jam first for his honourable mentions.
Okay, I'll try and be quick. A couple of tracks I would have liked to go. I'd like to got Remedy from Second Black Crowes album, track 2, from Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. Seasons from Chris Cornell from the single soundtrack, really like that, track 3. And Rollins Band, Tearing, I love that song from End of Silence. And then there's a few albums we haven't mentioned. Alice in Chains obviously released Sap as well this year, which was pretty good. You mentioned Dehumanizer from Black Sabbath, Body Count debut album. Okay, not very well produced, not very good. Adrenalize, Def Leppard, not a big fan of that, are we? Fear of the Dark. No one, I thought it might have had to Maiden, but I guess we have touched on that before. I don't like the album personally, but some people do. There's a couple of I thought Don might have had Jackal. Remember Jackal?
Yeah, I tried. They're on my honorable mentions. I tried to fit a few tracks in there, but I just couldn't.
Yeah, Motorpsycho. Do you remember them as well? Wrenched.
I know the name, but
okay. That's it. We got to touch on Kiss. Love Hate. Wasted America. Couldn't get anything off that. Well, I do love the album. It's perhaps not as good as Blackout, but I did like it. Nothing from Megadeth, Countdown to Extinction. Crimson Idol, as we know, is one of my favourite Wasp albums, but we've done Wasp, so you know I didn't put anything off it. Terrorvision, the debut album, English band, Formaldehyde, really good, like Terrorvision. Widowmaker, Dee Snider. Something I probably need to revisit. I did like it at the time. I haven't heard it for a long time. And Ministry, Psalm 69, which is probably, some people say, their best album. You like a bit of industrial. And just lastly, Nine Inch Nails, Broken and Fixed EPs come out. But once again, I haven't managed to get any Nine Inch Nails in yet. So we'll see. Maybe in 8 years. That's it.
Cool. What you got, Dom?
Yeah, just a few albums I couldn't fit. Let's see. I haven't really spoke too much about Lily and Axe, which is a band I really like. This was called Poetic Justice. Maybe their best album, I'm not sure, but yeah, great band. Saxon Forever Free, I really like that album. Motorhead March or Die, another strong one. Manowar Triumph of Steel is quite a good record as well. Couldn't fit anything from there. Let's see, anything else? I think you've covered most of mine, Jam. So the only other
Okay,
one
fine.
I'll mention is there's a band called Bangalore Choir who only had one album on a major, and it was David Reese, the singer who replaced Udo, except for that one album that got the blonde hair. That was a pretty good record, Bangalore Choir as well. So there you go.
Didn't they bring out another album a few years ago?
They may have. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
they may be one of those that, you know.
Yeah, one of them comeback albums even after.
Yeah.
I think they might have done, mate. Check that out. I think they might have done,
Right.
but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, I'll just name albums basically that I wish I've got saying. So I've got Hardline, Double Eclipse, which is their first album, had Neil Schon on the guitar. So, and they brought out a great album a couple of weeks ago. So I ain't got Neil Schon in them anymore, but a lot of the members have changed and stuff, but it's a great sort of melodic hard rock album. We mentioned Fear of the Dark. I wanted to get Judas Be My Guide because it's my favorite song on the album, but I just couldn't get it on there, you know, just one song just to switch everything around. But I do like that song. Reminds me a bit of Queensryche. I think it's the best song on the album for sure. Stone Temple Pilots Core, I had that down, but couldn't get anything. Black Crows, I did like that album. I liked it better than the debut album. So, but didn't get anything on there. The Thunder album, Laughing on Judgment Day. I did have that on my list originally. For some reason, it came off because of just moving stuff around, but I did like that album. And a band called, I don't know if you guys heard of them, they brought out 2 albums called Svengali. Remember them?
Yeah, know the name.
I've heard the name, yeah, but
yeah, brought some quite rocking sort of, I don't know, probably suited that early 90s sort of feel, but they weren't grunge at all. They were a metal band, but sort of melodic as well. So that's it. All done, guys. Excellent. Cool. So 1993's next. I haven't even started looking yet, but we've got a little while to go on that. So I think it's going to get a bit difficult for me. I'm not sure. I might have a look today because I'm really intrigued. I get excited about looking. I get really excited at looking at the releases because I'm thinking, you know, what was actually out? What's going to surprise me that year? And because of the channel as well, some things have come to me in the last year that I wouldn't have had if we did this a few years ago. So no, it's cool. I hope you enjoyed yourself, guys. Some great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
So see you next week for some more All Killer, yeah?
Yep.
Yes. Into the 90s.
Yes.